6 months ago, I said I wanted to find a new career path and a new direction in life that was outside of the traditional product manager career ladder that I was on. And I had this opportunity to take 6 months to a year in order to not work and explore. Now that I've reached month 6, I want to share what I learned. Another perspective I haven't really seen talked about in a lot of these mini retirement sabbatical videos is the perspective of somebody who is trying to live abroad. As an expat, you do have to consider practically how you're going to stay in the country you're in. If you're a digital nomad, that's not really as much of an issue, but I was actually trying to embed myself in London, which means I have to have a job because I'm on a skilled worker visa. And I do have a grace period, which I'm still on, to find another job in the UK. However, that means that I'm a little more incentivized to do a career pivot rather than entrepreneurship. A lot of my friends who took time off moved to low cost of living places. So one of my friends moved to South America and lived there for 6 months. And even Peter Levels, who I've mentioned before as a role model who did 12 startups in 12 months, was building his startups in Bali, which is really low cost of living. I would advise doing a mini retirement or sabbatical only if you're already going to do a digital nomad type life or you're settled down already. A lot of logic says I should just move back to the US and start a business there. That's pretty much the advice of almost every business mentor I talked to who said, cut your costs, move back with your parents, start a company from the US. It's way easier tax-wise too, but my heart and my emotions were all telling me staying in the UK, you like your lifestyle, you like your friends. So it was really hard and I really waffled on this decision for most of my 6 months, which made it less enjoyable. The longer I stayed in the UK, the more attached I got. And so even now I'm still looking for jobs in the UK. It's a bit of an unfortunate timing that I didn't already have settlement status in the UK before I took my time off and chose to career pivot. So I'm just on a shorter timeline to find my next career. A tip I could give about planning your time off is you should keep a decision log. That's something that I kept where every time I made a decision about where I want to live, if I want to live in London or if I want to move back to the US, I actually wrote down what I was thinking and how that factored into my decision. So it was really helpful when I reviewed it a couple months later to be like, what was I thinking? Why did I choose to stay in London for as long as I did? And I wrote down all the reasons, which was I wanted to do my hobbies, which were ice skating and dance. And I just wanted to spend a lot of time in London, as much time as I could, up until my lease ended. I knew I wasn't going to renew my lease because I didn't have a job, so it wouldn't make sense for me to continue paying before I knew what I was going to do exactly. So that's why temporarily I'm back at my parents' home. Once I'm able to replace my income, then I can go and settle down somewhere. But until now, I just don't know. And that money on rent is actually better used to spend it entirely on travel. In your time off, you'll have a lot of time just to think. My advice is to think less and do more. Try to take action. Things like scrolling, talking to a friend about your decisions, going over your decisions. A lot of things are actually rumination in disguise. Rumination is just when you keep thinking about the same topics, but it's not actually that productive. You're just going over the same topic over and over again, and you might change your decision multiple times throughout this. This is why I recommend doing a decision log. Just make your decision and then move on. And even things like watching YouTube, scrolling Reddit, talking to a friend about your decision, these are all different forms potentially of just continuing to think about a decision you can already make and move on from. Even if it's the wrong decision, you're still taking action and you'll learn faster if it was the right or wrong decision just by committing to it and then executing. So my top advice is to think less and do more. Do what you say you want to do quickly so that you can keep up the momentum that you've started by starting whatever it was. So for example, I actually applied to a couple jobs back in April and was doing the interview process. And I actually wish I had just continued those interviews, even if it was the wrong path for me, because then at least I am already at interview mood and then I have the momentum already going forward. And then I have an offer. Even if it's for the job I don't want, at least I have an offer that gives me confidence and leverage for other offers for the job I do want. Something I'm really glad I did was networking. Through networking and hosting events, I was able to meet people who were on similar paths to me and also get potential job opportunities from it. Even if it didn't result in a visa-sponsored job at the moment, I still suggest doing some work for free if you think it can be useful for your experience and you think it'll get you closer to somebody that you admire. When it comes to taking advantage of opportunities, I had a friend who runs a startup reach out to me about helping her host events in the UK as part of her UK launch for her product, and I did it. But I really wish that I had followed up and started doing more event hosting for free while I was in London. I had a period of 3 months in the summer. Even though I was traveling a lot, I wish I had just plugged in networking events to host in between my travel so that I could have helped her get momentum, really penetrate the UK market a bit better. And I think I got tripped up on trying to negotiate a fee for each event and making sure that I was being paid. But I wish I did a little bit of it for free so that I could have gotten that experience while we were discussing how I might get paid in the future. Another lesson I learned is to treat your relationships with a scarcity mindset. I see a lot of videos talking about having an abundance mindset with people so that you don't let toxic people in your life. But with people that you do already decide are important, you should actually treat the time with those folks as scarce and finite. So if your friend who you've already decided is a trusted, good friend offers you a chance to see them, you should take it because you don't know how much longer you have with that friend in your life, just because now you're in this moment where things could change and you're less structured, which means maybe in a month from now, you're not gonna live in the same place anymore. And that's exactly what happened to me. So every chance I had to travel with a friend, I took it because I didn't know if that was gonna come around next year, because I didn't know if I was still gonna stay in the UK next year, which means we would just have less opportunities and be less close to be able to do a bunch of these travel things. Be prepared that the thing that you do isn't actually gonna go as well as you hope. I started posting on YouTube consistently 6 months ago, and my channel is still super small. I'm still learning a lot about how to make my content better. So my metrics are on the low side. And again, I know already that most people monetize in 2 years, and I'm only 6 months into that. But it's still hard not to get discouraged by that long path and then want to give up earlier. In my last video about my career pivot 2 months ago, I mentioned wanting to launch a physical product. In that time, I did develop this notebook, which is meant to track your emotions throughout the day, which I'm pretty pleased about, and I got it shipped. I updated the design and then improved the pages and also the instructions to help people use it. And now this is something that I've given to a couple friends of mine to get their feedback, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. But something I realized is that even though I have this out, it's not replacing my income. It's a really cool project and I'm really glad I did this, but it's something where if I want this to become the next passion planner, it's a completely different journey. What's next? Now that I have this notebook out and have my Shopify page up, now I'm just starting to apply to jobs. So I will take you on my job search journey over the next few videos as I go through and try to replace my income through a different career than product management. I'm still applying for product management jobs, by the way, because it is a tough job market right now, and I'm aware that if I get into a company through product, I can still pivot through internal mobility and switch into a different role, because that is so much easier than trying to do that in this current job market. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope this helped you whether you're thinking about taking time off, switching careers, or currently in the process of a mid-career break. If you related to any of this and you want to know what's next, please subscribe and leave a comment. Tell me how you're doing with your time off. Thanks for watching.